my first job out of school, I saw naked women everywhere. Naked women dressed, not really. Naked women on sleek furniture. Naked women as a favorite action hero. I saw naked women driving super fast cars. These images of naked women were in my shared office, in the office of my subordinates, in break rooms, and in sleeping quarters. At the time, I was in the military. I was a junior officer, the most junior officer you could be. I was an ensign in the United States Navy, and I was on board the USS Tarawa. On my ship, we had a crew of 900 men. 900 men. And I was one of 13 women. The naked images bothered me. How could I lead my division of 42 men into battle if all around me were images that demeaned women? As a junior officer, I took a deep breath and I went to see the chief officer. And I said, "Can we please get rid of the picture of the naked women?" He looked at me as if I had the gall to ask. No. 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 The pictures keep the sailors happy. But the pictures didn't keep this sailor happy. As a junior officer, I had no other recourse. Or did I? I could have suffered the view of naked women, or I could become a leader and challenge the status quo. So I did the only thing that I could. I marched to the ship's store and I purchased every single image of a naked woman. Every video, every magazine, even the pinup calendars. And then I walked about the ship, which is about 820 feet and more than 13 floors, and I took down every single image of a naked woman. The young sales clerk in the ship's store was very alarmed. So what does he do? He notifies the executive officer of the ship. And within minutes, I hear my name on the loudspeaker. "Ensign Taylor, report to the bridge immediately." Ensign Taylor, reporting as ordered. The executive officer says, "I understand that you have been on a recent shopping spree." And I say, "Yes. I am troubled by the prolific denigration of women on this ship. Please return the items." "No, I am perfectly within my rights to purchase whatever the United States Navy sells on its ships." "Fine, I will sell more." "That's okay, I will buy more." In the end, the XO ordered all pornography out of the ship's stores, and he also asked that all the pornography be removed from the common areas. We all have it within us to be leaders. For me, it seems to come when there's a dearth of leadership or a failure to think creatively about a problem. The naked women on the ship had to go because there were real women with clothes who were about to join the ship. You see, for the first time in the ship's history, the crew of 900 men would be changed to add hundreds of women. And why should these women be welcomed with images of naked women? How does that sustain their position on the ship? Now, I could have easily said, "Oh, you know, you're a junior officer. your thoughts, your opinions, they don't matter. Or I could have said, I don't know, Lisa, you better pick and choose your battles. This is not one I'd fight. No, untapped leadership is leadership that serves to make a change for the better. It's leadership that occurs without regard to your title or your status. In the history of our country, we have seen untapped leadership, examples of everyday people making everyday actions that end up making the world a better place. And all they were doing was minding their own business at the time. Rosa Parks, who would not stand up, an everyday action when told to go to the back of the bus. Mark Randolph, founder of Netflix, he was angry because he had to pay $40 because he forgot to return a video. And I know you guys enjoy Netflix. Malala Yousafzai, she's a young girl who boarded a bus in defiance of Taliban's rule that said girls should not go to school. Now, she was injured, but because of her action, she inspired a nation. And they ratified the first right to education bill for children. Now, the problem with many of us, the problem with most of us, is that we look at leaders as people somewhere else, somebody else. We look at leaders outside of ourselves. We put our leaders on Post-it stamps. We name schools and roads after them. We treat them as supernatural, but we fail to look at the leader within. This notion of leadership, as I said, is nothing new. In my job at the Department of Justice, I see untapped leadership every day. I see the untapped leadership in the students who testify for their right to be free from discrimination, for the countless folks who rush to the aids of those afflicted by national tragedies. I see it in students like yourself who go out and protest against unjust rules. Untapped leadership. When I'm at the Department of Justice, sometimes when I have moments of doubt, which I do, I look to a quote on the wall. It's by Marianne Williamson, and it goes something like this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Each of us today have an option to be leaders. Are you a leader? Are you a leader? Are you a leader? I say the answer to that is yes. The question is whether or not you know it. What's the question? Are you a leader? And for me, leadership is very simple. Just think of two things. First, you must know who you are. Second, you must know who they are. Now, let's talk about you must know who you are. We are all great at something. But many of us, we fail to take the time in introspection to assess our weaknesses and our strengths. We are all great at something. It's okay to take time to spend on you. Take an audit. Think about your strengths and use those to your advantage. Second point, know who they are. If you know your strengths and you know who their strengths, and they, when I say they, I mean people in your family, people in your job, people at school. Everyone has a weakness. Everyone has a strength. So use your strengths to complement their weaknesses. I like to tell a little story about someone named Eric Holder, Attorney General Eric Holder. He is the head of the Department of Justice. Now, I'm nobody. I am nobody. But I was troubled by the lack of diversity at the department. So, what do? I march into his office and I request his presence. We had a conversation about diversity. Now, I was nobody, but the whole point of the story is, as a result of our conversation, changes were made. No matter who you are somebody. It is important for you to recognize your potential. You can and you will make a difference. Now it's time for you to use your untapped leadership to change the world in the way that you were meant to. Thank you.